Things are heating up around the Syrian province of Idlib. Russia's fear of a false flag chemical attack is brushed aside in Washington. American warships are patrolling the Syrian shores while Russia announces that it will hold war games in the Mediterranean. Yulia Shapovalova reports.
A crucial battle is looming in the last rebel stronghold in the Syrian province of Idlib. The UN Special Envoy for Syria says there are around 10,000 al-Nusra terrorists there, and the group is capable of producing chemical weapons.
The issue of avoiding the potential use of chemical weapons is indeed crucial and would be totally unacceptable. We all are aware that both the government and al-Nusra have the capability to produce weaponized chlorine.
Meanwhile, Russia's foreign minister has warned that another terrorist false flag attack is being prepared to sabotage the liberation of Idlib.
Another false flag attack is being prepared to try and hinder the anti-terror operation in Idlib. With the facts on the table, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Defence, we gave a clear and tough warning to our Western partners not to play with fire.
Russia's Ministry of Defence says it has information on the delivery of toxic substances to Idlib province. It claims the substances got there with the help of the rescue group, the White Helmets, and could be used in the false flag attack. Meanwhile, the Syrian foreign minister has revealed that the White Helmets group has reportedly kidnapped 44 children in the country. Damascus has suggested the youngsters might be used as part of that possible attack. By the way, all Russian warnings of the chemical attack in Syria have been brushed aside in Washington.
The Russians are claiming that al-Nusra and other groups are stockpiling chemical weapons and planning an attack. So do you dismiss that?
I think that's more false flag type reporting. We've seen that before, where they try to put the blame, they try to put the onus on other groups, and we don't buy into that.
The pending false flag attack by terrorists has caused further escalation of the conflict in the region. American warships equipped with cruise missiles are currently located both in the Persian Gulf and in the Mediterranean. If the chemical provocation does take place, it will be followed by a massive US-led strike on Syria. Russia's Ministry of Defense has also announced that large-scale naval and air force exercises will take place in the Mediterranean Sea. The maneuvers will be held from September 1st to September 8th. 25 ships of the naval forces and 30 aircraft of the Russian Air Force will take part. According to the Ministry of Defense, this is the largest group of Russian warships deployed along the Syrian coast in the Mediterranean Sea during the entire anti-terrorist operation in the Arab Republic. Yulia Shapovalova, RT.
And for more, we're joined by former US Diplomat Jim Jatras. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Natasha.
So what's the story behind these chemical attacks? I mean, is it being used to sabotage the liberation of Idlib?
I think it is. Look, we've had several episodes of this. You know, the famous Red Line back in 2013 with President Obama, the two episodes that have happened during the Trump administration, one in, well, actually more than two, and the evidence that the Syrian government was responsible for any of those is slim to none. The reason to think that either it was a false flag by the terrorists that, as we saw in the piece, we know have a chemical capability, or in the case of the most recent attack in a place called Duma, that it may have been staged entirely, that there was no chemical attack at all. You notice that story has completely disappeared since the inspection teams have gone into that area. So I think there's a very substantial reason to believe there's a false flag being prepared. The Russians have given that information to the Americans with details, including that British intelligence is directly involved in preparing this attack, and it seems the State Department is just blowing it off.
So you do think that Washington is brushing aside the chemical attacks, or do you think there's a bigger picture here?
I hope it's not worse than that. When John Bolton came out a week or two ago and said, now, if there's another chemical attack, we're going to respond very, very harshly to that, I think a lot of people took that as an engraved memo to the terrorists to say, okay, boys, do your thing. I hope that's not what it is. I would hate to think that John Bolton is complicit in something like that. But given the way this war has gone for the last 7 years, one can never know.
Interesting. And I know President Trump and President Putin, I mean, they've had conversations regarding Syria. Do you see the two countries coming together this time around?
Unfortunately, no. Evidently, there was an American delegation in Damascus recently, presented some proposals. regarding the evacuation of our forces that are illegally, by the way, there in Syria. They didn't get very far with that. I think that President Trump and President Putin would like to come to a meeting of the mind, but frankly, I think the Russians understand that President Trump really doesn't control this government, that people are doing what they want to do. For example, when he said he would meet President Rouhani of Iran with no preconditions, and then immediately President Pompeo lays down what the preconditions are. I just don't think he can deliver on anything from the American side.
Interesting. Well, we really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much, Jim Jatras.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.